And we are back.
Hello again. It's the Horror Guys, episode 107.
Wow, 107.
We're going to talk about some horror movies today.
Yeah, but how many horror movies?
107.
No, just
Not
4.
in this episode? We should.
Four.
We should keep doing that. Every episode we keep adding one more per episode.
How long would that episode be?
Wow, that'd be something. Marathon sessions.
Yeah, like usual, we've got four full-length movies and a short for you.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Brian.
Yep, we're the Horror Guys.
What do we got this time?
Well, we got He Never Died from 2015.
What good's a horror movie if he didn't die?
Well, it's good. It manages, yeah.
Okay.
A short called Let the Ghost Pass. That was a really good one, a foreign film. 1973 sort of classic, I'd call it. The Legend of Hell House.
Oh, I think it qualifies.
Yeah. What Keeps You Alive from 2018. And a weird movie, Elizabeth Harvest from 2019.
That's her last name, Harvest?
No.
No, not exactly.
No,
Okay.
No, it's a harvest of Elizabeths or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you want to start with the oldest one first?
Sure. The Legend of Hell House.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen the poster for this, you should check it out. I was like the poster. It's got a skull with a hand holding the house under the skull, and there's blood. And it's very cool.
So is there a giant skull that hovers over this house in the movie?
The implication is that death is looming over this house.
Okay. And hundreds of people die in this film?
Some.
I think 2?
Some do.
2?
Not hundreds, no.
All right. Well, this is The Legend of Hell House from 1973. We are in the realm of color here, so no longer black and white. Directed by John Who? H-O-U-G-H?
Ho.
Ho. Written by Richard Matheson. Stars Roddy McDowall, Gail Honeycutt, Pamela Franklin. Hour and 35 minutes. Did you like it?
Well, this was actually my third time seeing this. I saw it when it came out, and I saw it many years later. I don't know how many years later. And then just saw it again. And my thought this time was, boy, I remember this being better. I was a little bit bored.
It's really scary if you're 12.
Or, I guess, when you're in your 30s, too, I guess. I don't know. The second time I remember liking it more.
Well, this is right around the same time as The Omen, and this is around the same time as The Exorcist. And I think these supernatural things, they had their time, and they were like, ooh, scary.
It's a little bit past, I guess.
It is. It's a ghost story is all it is.
Pretty much. A touch of science fiction in this one, too.
Well, kind of, yeah. Like ghost hunting machines and things, yes.
Yeah,
Well, Mr. Dutch, a rich old man, hires Dr. Barrett to prove that life after death is real. Okay.
Yeah.
The old man wants to send him to the Belasco House, also known as Hell House. He wants Barrett, an expert in parapsychology, to verify the facts of the situation. He'll be going with Florence Tanner, a mental medium, and Ben Fisher, a physical medium.
And I never knew there was a difference.
I don't know if there really is.
They explain that in this movie.
Yeah. And also, he's also the only survivor of whatever it was that happened before. Barrett calls this the Mount Everest of haunted houses, and they'll each be paid $100,000 for their time in the house.
Yeah, this rich guy is really bankrolling this expedition.
Credits roll.
And they're going in fully equipped with all the latest high-tech gadgets and recorders and sensors and everything. Yeah.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah. So.
The three, along with Anne, Barrett's wife, go to the house, so there's 4 of them. They're planning to spend several days there. The windows have all been bricked over, so there's no way to see out. Fisher and Tanner are creepy from the get-go, and we get a tour of the house as the group looks for the generator. Tanner hears voices, and Fisher talks about the last time this house tried to kill him. Fisher explains the history of the house and of the old Mr. Belasco and his crimes. Belasco's body was never found, but 27 other bodies were. That's a good number.
It is.
Tanner channels the dead, and things in the room start to shake. She's a mental medium, not a physical one, so that's not supposed to happen. Barrett has doubts about both of his mediums.
Yeah, he's very scientific and very skeptical about all this
Yeah,
paranormal stuff. He studied it, and he's a scientist by nature. And
He's a scientist who is an expert in the paranormal, and yet he doesn't really believe any of it.
well, I think
Why would you do that with your career?
I don't know. Maybe he started out hoping that he'd find something, but I think he's gone through his whole career and not found anything that couldn't be explained by science.
That's like the Pope who admits he's an atheist.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you start out,
That's-
hoping, and you get through the whole training and everything, and your career starts, and like, oh, this isn't real. I've seen no evidence that it's real. So yeah, that would be discouraging to go into that field if you're hoping to, and he didn't find anything. But now it seems he has.
Maybe.
Yeah. Or
are they faking it?
Yeah, he's still very skeptical. Yeah.
Tanner talks to a ghost identifying himself as Daniel Belasco, the bad ghost's son. She tries doing it again, and ectoplasm extends from both her hands and combines and moves around the room. One of the few special effects shots in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Tanner and Barrett have a fight, and the house attacks Barrett. They all blame each other for causing the disturbances. Mrs. Barrett sees a ghost, freaks out, and gets naked for Mr. Fisher, who doesn't take advantage of the situation. Tanner finds a secret door, and inside is Daniel Belasco's dead body.
Found him.
They bury the body outside the next day. Tanner thinks Emmerich Belasco is behind everything, controlling Daniel and the other ghosts to drive away the living intruders. Fisher then has some kind of fit, and he talks about people who have died investigating this house in the past. Barrett gets a big machine delivered, and it's a big one too.
This is the science fiction-y part.
It's supposed to drain all the paranormal energy from the house, but Fisher says it'll never work. Tanner explains that Belasco is inside her, and that he'll never let her go. A giant cross falls on Tanner, killing her dramatically. They run the machine, and Barrett tells Fisher that the spirits are gone now, and he can open up and use his power.
And he doesn't detect anything.
Nope.
The house is clean.
This house,
Yeah.
Fisher says the house is clear. He can't detect anything at all. Suddenly, the sensors and monitors get really active and blow up in his face. His wife finds his mutilated body a little later.
There's science for you.
Yeah, she warns Fisher to get out, but he insists on going back in. The house is clear, except for the chapel. Why? There aren't multiple ghosts haunting the house. It was all just one ghost pretending to be a host of them. Fisher screams at Belasco that he knows the secret. Belasco wasn't the roaring giant that he was claimed to be, but instead wasn't even 5 feet tall.
But he faked it. Yeah. Are you going to cover that? Of why he had his legs amputated when he was alive and had prosthetic legs put on just so he could be tall and tower over people and give the impression that he was a big man.
But why become an evil ghost because of that? I mean, this is a silly little trick, and yeah.
I don't know if it was directly related, but yeah, it was the kind of person he was, I guess.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, the back of the chapel then blows out, revealing a door. Inside, they find Emmerich Belasco, dead and taxidermied. The walls are shielded with lead to protect his ghost from machines like Barrett's.
And yet the ghost could come and go through these leaded walls. They see that was don't overthink the science on it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if lead's going to
'cause
hold in the psychic energy, it's going to hold in the ghost.
The lead would also have shielded the, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they turn the machine back on and leave the place alone, hoping that Belasco will get drawn into the machine.
And apparently does.
Yeah.
Because the lid shielding's gone then. Yeah.
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 Well, there's
Well,
a
they
hole
punched
in the
a hole
wall.
in the,
Yeah,
in,
okay.
the, in the lead shielding. But yeah, just don't overthink the science part. Yeah.
Well, each individual scene shows the times and the dates to document and show just how realistic this all is, like a real documentary. The camera moves in really close for some extremely claustrophobic close-ups to make it more tense. The scientific aspect of the investigation is something I don't think I've seen in anything earlier than this anyway. It tries to take paranormal investigation pretty seriously. It's good, the setting is good, the acting is good, but it's extremely slow-paced. The ending is a bit of a letdown as well. Well, they find a dead body in a secret room. Whoopee. Still, it was pretty intense and unique at the time, and is definitely a must-see classic if you're into ghost stories and haunted houses. A dead body in a secret room.
Yep.
Yep. That's
That's a haunted house, all right.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Hell House.
Yeah, it's a classic, and it's not bad. It's just kind of slow and kind of tame. I know my mom used to watch this one every time it was on. She said it was one of the scariest movies she'd ever seen at the time.
Well,
yeah.
At the time, maybe. Yeah.
Oh, at the time, maybe.
Yeah. I think it's kind of dated.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
you know what else dates?
What?
Immortal People.
Oh, he never died.
2015's film He Never Died. And directed and written by Jason Krozik. Stars Henry Rollins, Boo Boo Stewart, Kate Greenhouse, hour and 37 minutes. And if I ever become an actor, I want to be known as Boo Boo.
Boo Boo. Boo Boo Brian?
Boo-boo.
Could we call you Boo Boo Brian?
Brian Boo Boo. Yeah, there you go.
Did you like it?
I did like it. I didn't think I was going in, but yeah, I did like it.
This was by far my favorite of the week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You liked it a lot.
I liked this one a lot, yeah. This one I'd like to see again. Yeah.
Yeah, so the cover of the poster shows him screaming and yelling or something, and he looks like he's got angel wings. So you go into this thinking, oh, he's some kind of an angel.
Cast out angel
yeah,
or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Undercover angel.
And it isn't, yeah.
And it's not clear until the end what he really is.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a spoiler warning.
And even then, it's, there's some unexplained things.
There are, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so definitely 2 strong thumbs up from us on this one. Jack wakes up as there's someone knocking on his door. We see he has 2 long scars on his back. Like if somebody were to cut Angel's wings off, that kind of scars.
That is what it looked like.
And of course, you go into this thinking about the angel because he's right there on the cover of the movie. So it's not a spoiler.
Wings. Yeah, or demon wings or something.
Yeah, some big wings.
Yeah.
It's the landlady, and she wants her money. He takes a couple of $100 bills out of a trunk full of money to pay her. There's millions in that trunk.
Yeah, he doesn't worry about money. Yeah.
He ought to. It's just, he goes to church and afterwards meets up with a hospital intern who sells him something in a package. Jack puts the package in his otherwise empty refrigerator, and every time Jack stops moving, we hear sounds of war and death, like he's got PTSD or something similar.
Mm-hmm.
2 men then come to his door, and he punches one of them. They break in and threaten Jack. One of them shoots Jack in the hand. He gets violently badass with them and tosses them back into the hallway. He goes to the diner and orders oatmeal. Yeah, after that big fight, he needs a macho meal.
Yep.
Oatmeal.
And he can be, this is where you learn he can be wounded, but it doesn't bother him too much.
Yeah, the hand gets better real quickly.
It heals very quickly.
But it was damaged to begin with.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, it did. The bullet did go through and he was bleeding, and so he can be wounded, but it doesn't last and it doesn't really hurt him.
Yeah, the waitress clearly wants him to ask her out, but he's not having any of that. In fact, he seems to be having some kind of a memory issue. He doesn't remember a lot of things. He then gets a call from his ex, who wants him to pick up their daughter at a nearby bar. He and the daughter go back to the diner, and he explains to her that he doesn't eat meat. Nothing with blood in it. That evening, he gets home, and his hand has healed. And at this point, the deal with the blood and everything had me thinking, well, maybe he's a vampire or something. He's a good vampire.
Yeah, it makes you wonder.
Angel, the TV series, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The next day, he goes to buy from his intern again, but the 2 goons are there to kidnap and torture the intern. Jack tears a mailman out of his truck and follows them in the stolen mail vehicle. He messes them up a lot more seriously than the first time, and he and his daughter Andrea then go to bingo at the local church. He likes oatmeal, he likes bingo.
Keeps him occupied.
Yeah. Between bingo and the diner, Jack doesn't really do very much.
He's just kind of existing and keeping a low profile.
They go back to the diner, and Andrea invites Kara the waitress to go to bingo tomorrow night. When no one is looking, someone spikes Jack's drink and follows him home. Jack goes outside to beat them up as well, but he passes out from the drug. They throw Jack in the river, but that only pisses him off. This time, Jack tears out one guy's throat and eats it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's a vampire. When we get home, he insists that Andrea get out of the house. Well, and why? Does he want to eat her?
I think he's acting like he's fighting to hold back the urge to attack her. Yeah.
The neighbor gets in his face, and Jack does something bad to him. He disposes of the body the next morning. As he wanders the city, he's nice to the good people, and he eats the bad people.
Yeah, it's like he can sense the difference.
And I don't mean like a vampire bites you and sucks your blood. I mean, he literally more cannibal-like. He tears out bits.
Yeah.
Something has got Jack out of his peaceful routine. Jack gets a message on his answering machine that the bad guys have kidnapped Andrea and killed her mother. They want him to come to the docks. He goes to the diner and orders a rare steak. What? He doesn't eat meat.
He does now.
No blood. Charging up for something. He rescues Kara from her ex-husband and walks her home, completely forgetting to go to the docks. He doesn't seem to have a very good memory until Kara asks him what he did for a job, and it turns out to be pretty much kind of everything at one time or another.
Yeah, he
lists off jobs for like 45 minutes.
Comes up with quite a list.
Yeah.
Well, and he mentions there, too, that that's the most he's talked in a while, and his memory is coming back, and so his fog is lifting. That he mentions in that conversation.
He goes home, and we finally see that the package from the intern contained blood. He keeps seeing an old man with a goatee all over town, but he tries to avoid the old man. Jack goes to see Alex, the son of his old boss, and asks if he had anything to do with the kidnapping. Alex said he had nothing to do with it, but Jack can hear crying in the next room. He goes back to the diner, and Kara is terrified. The place is crawling with goons. One of them shoots him in the head, and that really gets him angry. They load the one survivor of this ordeal into Kara's car, and she watches him pull the bullets out with pliers.
Yeah, that's awesome. He says he's got to pull them out, or if he leaves them in, they give him migraines. So this is clearly not the first time he's been shot in the head. Doesn't bother him too much.
Well, they go back to his apartment, and she finds a photo of Jack dated 1914.
But he's a lot older than that.
Yeah, he explains that he doesn't know how old he is, but he was Cain in the Bible.
I don't know how old I am, but it was in the Bible. It was Cain.
That's way back in the beginning. Even.
Well, his real name, it wasn't Cain, but he's Cain in the Bible. It was something different, but
yeah,
the original language
or something. Yes,
in the original language. So anyway, yeah, he's that old.
Yeah. He goes to the hospital to interrogate the injured intern. The intern puts the finger on Alex. Kara accuses Jack of being a vampire, and he doesn't deny it. But he doesn't want to talk about it either. He does say that he's one of a kind. He goes back to Alex's place, releases Andrea, and breaks Alex's leg. Jack explains to Alex, "I've killed 9-year-olds for no reason at all. What makes you think you have a chance?"
And this might be where he threw something in that made it sound like he was Vlad the Impaler.
Yeah, he did say that.
Too.
Yes, yeah. I don't remember what he said now, but yeah, he was.
Yeah, when he was ranting.
He gives Alex the full speech.
Yeah.
All the people that he was. Mm-hmm. And then the old man with the goatee comes in, and Alex can't see him. I don't know. It's God or maybe death.
I don't think it's God, because he yells at the guy that, it's something about, he doesn't believe
there is no God.
Yeah, he doesn't. There is no God. She doesn't exist. Is one of the rants that he does. So I don't think the old guy is God.
Okay, well maybe he's death,
or he's something.
Yeah,
something way more powerful than Jack is.
Yeah. And Cain/Jack isn't happy to see the old man. When Kara interrupts for more help, the man is gone. Who was that bearded man?
Yeah, and he can't kill Alex. For some reason, the old man wants Alex for himself. That was one of the things, too. Jack wanted to kill Alex and couldn't, suddenly. So, it's not completely explained.
Yeah. No. I wonder if they have a sequel intended at any point.
Oh, that'd be neat. Yeah. I was just reading something in the trivia about the wings, with the wings and the scars. Biblical stories aside, the mythology that Cain may be a child of a fallen angel and Eve. there's a mythology out there which might explain the
Well,
vestigial.
that's certainly not in the Bible.
And then no, but it's a mythology story. And then Cain was doomed to walk the earth.
Yeah.
They took his wings away.
Okay.
Yeah, which could explain it.
Yeah.
It's one person's theory, which does make sense.
Okay. Well, I used to really love the whole angels and demons, heaven and hell type stuff. At least until the TV show Supernatural ran it all into the ground and made it boring.
Well, the problem with Supernatural
is it ran 10 years too long.
That too, yeah. But I kept having eventually a trouble with Supernatural. They got Kronos and Zeus and all these incredibly powerful beings that have lived for thousands of years. And Sam
Monster
and Dean,
of the week.
And Sam and Dean, find some way to easily kill them, or trap them, or both. Like, really. I mean, yeah.
You think Zeus would be a bit more of a
some of the kills just seem and when they killed Death on Supernatural, which I thought was just lame and way too easy, and
never really was explained that I can remember.
He used Death's own sai on him, his own weapon.
He's as old as God. He's more powerful than anything, and he just let Dean kill him.
He wanted to, and he could be killed with his own weapon.
Yeah, that was pretty lame.
Yeah, Supernatural got old that way to me. That was my biggest fault.
We still have to watch the final year.
So,
we're still 1 year short on Supernatural.
Oh yeah, and God appears in Supernatural, and he's not that powerful.
He is. He just doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Oh, well, anyway. It also had, back to He Never Died.
Yes, this movie.
It also had a lot of the good of the TV series Angel, where the vampire tries to fit in with modern times, although this was a lot more serious. The artwork for the film shows wings on Jack that make him look like an angel, but it's definitely not clear what he is for most of the film. It's really more of an action-adventure than a horror film, but it is sort of kind of about a vampire, so it's definitely in the neighborhood.
Yeah, very gory.
Yeah, it's got several really good gore shots, and it never gets boring, even though a lot of it really is just talking.
And Henry Rollins, I think, is just perfect for this role.
Yeah. Can't think of anything he's really. I've seen him in lots of stuff,
smaller parts,
but nothing he's really stood out in.
I think this was his first lead role.
Okay.
He was the guy in a movie.
All right. Well, the action scenes are all really good, and it's well acted all around. I definitely like this quite a bit. It's got a lot of fun little details too, like when he eats a guy's finger and spits out the fingernails afterwards.
Yeah. Yum.
All right, and that takes us to our short film of the week, directed by it's Let the Ghost Pass from 2019. Written and directed by Andreas Thalander, stars Alma Cederquist, Daisy Davis, and Bo Lichtman. 13 minutes and 13 seconds. There's a lucky runtime for a horror film. 13. What did you think?
I liked it. I thought it was really good.
Oh, you
want me to read it? Oh,
so what happened?
Well, we're in Stockholm, and this is
subtitled,
and it is subtitled. Yeah, it's not in English. An old homeless man narrates that he's been chosen, but he doesn't know why. Every night, he keeps people off Priest Street, where he is visited by Girton, who is a ghost from the 16th century. And it's like he got a summons where this is his mission to keep people away from Girton because he's bad news. And there's also a little girl ghost who helps him as like a sidekick. Kind of cute. Yeah.
The ghost protector and his sidekick.
Yeah. Well, Jonathan, a young man, has gotten locked out of his car just as the old man approaches, and the old man tries to warn him to get off the street. Oh, there is some English, because Jonathan isn't English. He doesn't speak.
Right.
Yeah, he's trying to communicate with him, and Jonathan is English. Yeah, or American or something. And yeah. Anyway.
The old man.
The old man warns him to get off the street, or tries to, and another man approaches from behind and beats Jonathan to death with his cane as the old man looks on helplessly. Well, the old man is feeling awful about that. He drinks heavily and looks at a picture of his estranged daughter, and he gets a call, and he has to go back to the street again. And he's obviously in some kind of pain besides being old. There's more to it. And he collapses and dies before going out.
Well, that's serious.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he stops to look at his reflection in the mirror and seems kind of shocked. He's a ghost now. He's continuing on his mission despite being dead.
Surprise,
Yeah.
you're dead.
Well, the little girl, a ghost, explains that ghosts can't touch the living, but Gerton was holding his hook cane thing when he died, and so he can use that as a physical weapon.
Part of him now.
Yeah. So he killed the little girl with the hook, and that's why she's hanging around and helping. And if Gerton can be tricked to drop the hook, he can't pick it up again. He'll be harmless.
He hasn't put that hook down in 400 years?
Nope, he's really attached to it.
I guess he is.
Yeah. So the girl and the old man go to stop Gerton, or the killings will go on forever. So they return to Jonathan's apartment just as Gerton approaches Jonathan's girlfriend. Yeah, so another victim. And he runs him off, and Gerton, does go away. The girl wants Gerton to kill her so she can be on the other side with Jonathan. Well, Gerton appears, hits the woman, but the old man and the little girl confront him, and there's a little tussle, and the old man wrestles away Gerton's hook, and he vanishes.
No more Gerton.
Yeah. But the woman is dead. She becomes a ghost as well. All three ghosts vanish.
Hey, everybody dies.
Everybody dies.
Happy ending.
But, the implication is she's going to go to see Jonathan.
They're all going to a better place and they're happy. So it is a happy ending.
Yeah, and his mission's done, and the little girl can rest. And so it's a happy, sad ending.
The bad ghost is vanquished and the good ghosts get their reward.
Yep, and they get to move on.
So the old man who stars in this does a really good job with it.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of backstory, but we learn all we need to know. The story has a beginning, middle, and ending, which is always good. The location shots in Stockholm look great and definitely the kind of place you'd expect to find a 16th century ghost. The first half of the film is subtitled Swedish, but once everyone is dead, they switch to English.
I forgot about
So,
that.
yeah, English is the language of the afterlife.
It's the universal language.
If you don't speak English, you are in eternity of trouble. So anyway, this is a pretty cool little short, and we both definitely recommend it. Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
And I guess most of these films, with the exception of Hell House this week, are pretty recent.
Mm-hmm.
Got another one here from 2018 called What Keeps You Alive?
And I had not even heard of this before. I think we saw this one on a recommended list.
Top 100 of the decade or something like that.
Yeah, top 100 recent films.
We go through a lot of top lists.
Yeah. Before that, I had not heard of it. I hadn't, when it came out, or nothing. No preview.
Can't say I did either.
No.
Written and directed by Colin Minihan. Stars Hannah Emily Anderson, Brittany Allen, Martha McIsaac, hour and 38 minutes. And IMDb's description says, majestic mountains, a still lake, and venomous betrayals engulf a female married couple attempting to celebrate their 1-year anniversary. Well, okay. If that sounds interesting, then go watch it. It's better to see this one unspoiled. If not, then spoilers ahead.
You're going to spoil this movie?
I just warned them.
Okay, you're warned. Seriously, warned. Stop the podcast and go watch it if you haven't.
So, did you like it?
I did, yes.
Okay, I did too. We both liked it.
Yeah. A couple issues I had with it, but yeah, overall.
It's not the greatest movie. It's not the best movie we've seen. Not even the best movie we've seen this week, but it's good.
It's no Gone with the Wind.
That might be a good thing. This is the year to trash talk Gone with the Wind.
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I forgot about that.
All right, well, here we go. Jackie and Jules are staying in a rustic cabin for their anniversary. They've been married for 1 year, and this cabin belongs to Jackie's family. Jackie mentions her insulin in the very first scene. Already, I bet that's going to come back as a problem later.
It's one of those things
not so subtle
that stood out, and you think, what's the Chekhov's?
Yeah. Why would they be talking about insulin on the very first scene?
You know it's going to come up.
Yeah. That loaded gun on scene 1.
Yeah.
Well, that night, Jackie sings a song about blood and demons and tearing out your eyes, which unsurprisingly creeps out Jules. Instead, they have sex. That was a weird and pointless song.
Yeah, it was kind of neat, actually.
I'd say it was fine to listen to, but
yeah,
who would pick that to sing to your romantic wife at this point?
She's an odd duck.
Well, someone else drives up, and it's Sarah, an old friend of Jackie's who lives nearby and hasn't been around in years. Sarah calls Jackie Megan, which is news to Jules. The next day, out for a run, Jules finds a small boat on the shore. Jackie explains that Megan was a name she never really liked and changed it long ago, but Jules still isn't happy to learn about the secret. Afterwards, the pair go target shooting, and Jackie tells a story about killing a black bear when she was younger, and explains, you only kill what keeps you alive.
Hence the title.
Yeah, don't kill it unless you plan on eating it. Jackie goes grocery shopping, so Jules rows her boat over there. She goes to Sarah's house, where Jules meets Daniel, Sarah's husband. Sarah explains about Jenny, a friend of theirs who died when they were young. Jackie had never mentioned Jenny to Jules. Jackie isn't happy to find out Jules had that conversation without her. Turns out Jackie and Jenny were swimming across the lake and Jenny disappeared. They found her body 2 days later. Almost immediately afterwards, Jackie pushes Jules off a cliff right after telling the story.
Way out of the blue.
What?
Yeah,
What? She pushed her off the cliff?
That was a shocker. Yeah.
Didn't see that coming.
Hence the spoilers. You've been spoiled. Yeah.
Jackie pushes Jules off a cliff right after telling the story.
Because it's just completely out of the blue.
Yeah. So on the way back to the cabin, she rehearses for calling 911. Hello, 911. My wife has fallen off a cliff.
And she's not moving.
She's dead. I think she's dead. Help.
Yeah.
But she doesn't call. She just prepares.
Mm-hmm.
Naturally, when she gets back to the scene, Jules's body is gone.
Oopsie, she wasn't dead after all.
And we see a flashback that shows Jules staggering off with a concussion as she hears Jackie calling out for her. Jules hides in the woods. All night this goes on, cat and mouse like. The next day, Jackie gears up for a more serious hunt. It's clear that this was not a spur-of-the-moment push over that cliff.
She's been planning it.
While Jackie's out hunting, Jules returns to the house and does some first aid on herself. Jules and Jackie start rowing across the lake in separate boats, but Jules only has one arm that really works, so Jackie catches her and makes her go back to the house. Jackie explains that this is all about Jules' insurance policy, and that Jackie has been grooming her for the entire past year.
Well, and you missed a point there, too. You're about to say Sarah and Daniel are coming over for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is because she almost made it across the lake and make it
to them
within shouting distance, and Daniel's out on the dock, and sees them. And I was like, okay, yeah. and Sarah's like, not Sarah, Jackie says, you say anything and, it'll make it worse. And she blurts out, tonight's fine, come over for dinner tonight, or something along those lines. And so then, she's stuck. She can't she can't outright kill. Well, she certainly can't kill her there on the lake because Daniel's watching, and now they're coming over for dinner. So she's got to, Jackie's got to improvise.
Yeah, so the two have to pretend to be getting along since Jackie threatened to kill Sarah and Daniel if Jules doesn't play along.
Mm-hmm.
Jackie explains about Erica, her first wife, who she also killed. Oh, these names just keep coming up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Daniel confesses that Sarah thinks Jackie is a psychopath, something he probably shouldn't have told her.
No.
Meanwhile, Jules tells Sarah everything. Jackie cuts Daniel's throat right there, and like the silly girls in a horror film that they are, the girls run away screaming. Ah!
And that was, yeah.
Like the silly girls in a horror film that they are.
You never know what you're going to actually do in a situation like that. But, and these women were not killers, not natural born killers like Jackie was. But still, Jackie's coming at them rather slowly with a knife. There's two of them. There's all kinds of heavy lamps and stuff they could, club her with, grab something, throw something. No, they turn, scream, and run.
Yep.
And then it gets worse from there.
Jackie catches up and stabs Sarah repeatedly.
And Jules is just downstairs hanging out, being hysterical this whole time. She could have come up behind Jackie, clubbed her, stopped her, didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Jackie comes back downstairs after she's thoroughly killed Sarah and says, look what you made me do.
Yeah, Jules just sits there in shock and watches as Jackie cuts up the bodies with an axe. Then Jules has to clean up the blood. Later, Jules unties herself, steals Jackie's knife, and oh no, wait, that's just a dream sequence. She doesn't do anything. Instead, she searches the room full of guns and heavy things, and instead finds a box of lockets that belong to Jackie's former wives. About a dozen of them.
Yeah, from the look of it, she's been at this
quite a
a
career.
while. Yeah.
Jules eventually sticks Jackie with a tranquilizer dart and runs off into the woods. Sticks her with a tranquilizer dart and runs off into the woods when there's, kitchen knives and ropes and 100 things you could just take care of this problem with.
See, there's issues with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She runs straight to the cliff she was supposed to have fallen to her death from. Jackie passes out right before she can do anything. Jules finally has the upper hand. Does she stab Jackie or throw her off the cliff?
Or at least tie her up or handcuff her or something.
No, she leaves her there and takes the car and drives away. But she has a change of heart, though, and goes back to finish the job. Really? Doesn't go to the police station, doesn't go to the hospital, doesn't leave town. She goes back again.
She's got to make sure that she doesn't do this again.
Of course, Jackie is gone by that time.
Oops.
Jules notices that the gun, which had been there all along, is hanging right there on the wall, so she takes it down. All the time they've spent in this house, and there's a gun hanging right there on the wall.
Yeah.
We didn't see it, but she would have known it was there.
We saw it.
Okay.
We saw it hanging there. Yeah.
She plays her silver chair music and switches to badass mode. See? All it took was the right background music. She cranks up the music so Jackie out in the woods will hear it. Jackie eventually comes in that night, apparently fully recovered from the tranquilizer. Jules gets the drop on her with the gun. Jackie gives the "you're not a killer" speech, and then tackles Jules and runs away. They fight upstairs off-screen. Off-screen. Apparently, Jackie wins this off-screen battle, as we soon see her dragging Jules' dead body back to the cliff and rolling her back off it to her death for real this time. Jackie goes back home, calls 911, and starts feeling woozy.
What? She needs a shot of insulin.
She goes and gets her insulin, and we get a flashback that shows Jules knew all about medical stuff.
Oh, there have been other implications of that, too.
Yeah, she helped give her shots, yeah.
Jules was not a doctor, but she was medically very smart and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she opens up her computer and finds a video of Jules explaining that she replaced Jackie's insulin with peroxide, which will soon kill her. Delirious, Jackie goes back into the woods and has a stroke. In the final scene, we hear Jules at the bottom of the cliff taking a breath. Maybe she's not completely dead. All right, well, okay. We both gave this a thumbs up when we started talking about this, and now I'm starting to have second thoughts.
Our thumb is kind
Our
of
thumbs
shrinking.
are sinking,
Our thumb
yes.
is shriveling back down a little bit.
There are lots of logical problems in the story, not to even mention that someone could have collected insurance money on that many dead wives without being caught.
Well, it might not have all been insurance money, too, though. She had the implication was she had multiple IDs, and she, might have just killed them and then disappeared.
Yeah, okay.
For the kick. I think she was doing
Empty out their bank accounts.
Yeah, I don't think it was just for the insurance always. I think she was doing it for the thrill, too.
And what about that peroxide? An insulin shot is just
science.
a tiny amount of liquid. I can't imagine that amount of peroxide injected subcutaneously into the fatty skin would be that harmful.
Not that harmful that quickly. Mm-mm. Even that small amount of
I'm not going to try
peroxide,
it, but I'm skeptical.
Yeah, if you took that small amount of peroxide and injected it directly into a blood vessel, possibly. But it was a mighty small amount, too.
It was, yes.
Yeah.
Well, it all looks good, and it was a complete surprise when Jackie turned on Jules. I really did not see that coming, at least not that early in the film. I could have seen her being, a twist at the end or something, but yeah, this is like 20 minutes in.
Mm-hmm.
That said, Jules had dozens of opportunities to counterattack and hit Jackie with something. There's furniture and heavy things all around the house that she could have used as a weapon. Later on, and there's a scene with a crow that was so vague we literally paused the film to discuss what just happened.
And then we kind of figured it out.
What?
We did figure it out.
Did we? I don't remember it.
Yeah, where Jackie was saying that she was the eagle and Jules is just a crow, because they had different tattoos, and and Jules realized that she had to stop this and not let the eagle keep winning, because she was just going to keep going and going.
Alrighty then.
Yeah, it was kind of vague and open to interpretation.
Well, I was entertained throughout, mostly due to the first big surprise that carried over for a while. I'd say as long as you're going into it not knowing that twist, then it's going to be pretty entertaining. And other than that first shock, there's not that much new here. And since you just heard us spoil it for you, you could probably save your time. Wow. We've ruined the movie.
Wow.
All right.
We're mean. Well, we warned you.
Although we did enjoy watching it at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
which takes us to an interesting, almost sci-fi kind of horror.
Yeah, definitely sci-fi.
Elizabeth Harvest from 2019. Written and directed by Sebastian Gutierrez. Stars Abby Lee, Ciaran Hinds, Carla Gugino. How do you say it?
Oh, you got me.
Carla Gugino.
Gugino. I would say, let's go with Gugino.
1 hour, 48 minutes. And I know I've heard people say her name before. Oh, well. Did you like it?
Yes. Yes, very much.
Yeah, I did too.
And this was another one, spoiler alerts again. Yeah. I didn't know anything about it going into it.
Well, let me just say this one here's got so many twists and turns that 1 or 2 spoilers isn't going to matter too much. But yeah, there's a lot of things going on in this one.
It's packed tightly. Yeah.
I will recommend this one stronger than the previous one.
I think I would too. Yeah.
Uh-huh. So go watch that and come back.
This is almost one I wouldn't mind seeing again. No.
This is one of those ones. Once you know what's going on, it would merit a second
say,
viewing.
Oh, and that's why that happened, and oh, that's why that happened.
Yeah. Well, Elizabeth and Henry are newlyweds. He's an older billionaire, and she's a young, early 20-something woman.
Definitely a
age gap there.
Yeah, big age gap. Yeah.
He carries her over the threshold in their extremely modern mountain home. Credits roll. Claire and Oliver, the servants, are introduced. Elizabeth quickly learns that Oliver is blind. He shows her around the huge house, and everything seems like a princess's fantasy. It's all just perfect. Every door is accessible with a code. There's only one room she's forbidden to go in. Everything is yours except this one. This room is off limits, Henry explains. Well, Henry has to go into town the next day, leaving Elizabeth all alone to entertain herself. She admires his Nobel Prize mounted on the wall, and she wonders why Henry would want a simple girl like her. She entertains herself all day and watches that evening as the servants leave her in the house alone. She goes wandering and stops outside the forbidden door. What do you think's going to happen?
I bet she goes in the forbidden room.
Later that night, she wakes up and goes straight down there. She opens the door and goes inside. She sees a row of refrigerated tanks with people inside. She runs back to her room, terrified. The next day, Henry returns, and he's friendly, but Elizabeth is suddenly afraid of him. They have sex, but she's not that interested anymore. Henry soon figures out that Elizabeth saw the room, so he comes after her with a machete.
Yikes.
Overreact much?
Yeah, that was kind of out of the blue. Like, what the heck?
She hides, but he finds her and then hacks her to little pieces. The end. For her. Henry and the servants bury the pieces the next morning and then go inside for breakfast. Claire thinks Henry wants to get caught. This clearly wasn't the first time this has happened. Claire loves Henry, and Oliver has a big crush on Claire. Logan, a detective, comes by later that day. He asks about Elizabeth, and Henry says she's taken a nap. And he gets away with it. We get a black screen, and the thing comes up, says 6 weeks later.
Deja vu.
Elizabeth and Henry are newlyweds. He's an older billionaire, and she's young.
Yeah, she wakes up in the car. They're driving toward and it's exactly a replay of the opening scene where they're driving through the mountainous, and she wakes up, and she's kind of dreamy, and we've seen this before.
Yeah, we have. This time loop?
Yeah, that's what we're wondering, time loop or something. Well, and even initially I wondered if the the servants, when she first met them, wondered if they were robots, some kind of androids.
They were
or
strange
something.
acting, yes.
Yeah, because they were so odd acting. But there's a reason they're so odd acting. And, yeah.
Yeah, well, Henry is an older billionaire and she's young. He carries her over the threshold in their extremely modern mountain home. He's been growing clones in his lab. The same, almost word-for-word routine from the earlier scenes play out again, this time with a whole brand new Elizabeth.
No, we don't know at this point that it's a clone, though.
I think we do.
Do we?
I think we figured it out. Yeah, well, you saw the tanks. You know.
Yeah, the tanks, yeah.
Okay, you maybe got to make a little bit of a logical guess
He's
there.
growing, yeah, he's either manufacturing her or cloning her or something. Yeah,
Yes.
she's artificial. From the tanks.
It's not a time loop.
Yeah.
Henry has to go to work the next day, and everything plays out exactly the same, except this time, the raw clone in the lab wakes up early and gets out without anyone seeing her.
Whoops. Yeah, she goes into the room again.
Yeah, the first time she went in the room, looked around, screamed, and left. This time she touched things.
Pokes around and she opens one of the tanks accidentally, wakes up one of the clones in progress.
Who sneaks out.
Yeah.
The next day, Henry is friendly, but Elizabeth is suddenly afraid of him. Henry explains that once you learn how a person will behave, you can learn how to control them. This is all some kind of psychological experiment for him. This time, Elizabeth stabs him in the back before he gets her. She still can't get out of the secure house.
Oh, and she kills him.
She kills him, yeah. He's very dead.
Yeah.
Nothing ambiguous about it.
Yeah.
So she sets about cleaning up the blood and the mess. Oliver and Claire are surprised to see her in the morning.
Yeah, you're not supposed to
you
still
made
be
it all
alive.
right, huh?
He hasn't killed you yet.
Claire-
and then she says, "Oh, he went. Yeah,
He's taking a nap.
Yeah, he's taking a nap." Yeah.
Claire then has a heart attack, and the ambulance comes to take her away. Oliver says he'll help Elizabeth with Henry's body. Oliver explains that she's the 5th Elizabeth in the Elizabeth Harvest. That's where the name comes from. They've been harvesting her.
Mm-hmm.
Logan shows up, the detective, and meets Elizabeth for the very first time. He got her 911 call earlier today, but they explain it away, saying that it was for Claire calling during her heart attack. He seems to be completely falling for the story when Oliver shoots him in the back. You know, when the blind kid starts shooting guns in the house, you better be careful.
Yeah, that was a lucky shot.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, homing in on his voice. And,
Turns out that Logan was in on everything and assisted Henry several times in the past.
Yeah, and this was not at all the first time he had met Elizabeth.
Yes.
Or the Elizabeths.
He was
plural.
in on it. Uh-huh.
Yeah, he knew.
Oliver admits that turns out he's actually Henry's son, and then gives Elizabeth a bag full of money, but he wants her to read Claire's journal and tell him what it says.
No, I wasn't clear on that, too. Is he actually Henry's son or a clone of Henry?
That comes up later.
Okay.
Right now he says he's Henry's son.
He's Henry's, okay.
Yeah, he comes out and says, I'm his son.
Okay.
That's what he actually believes, too, at this point.
Oh, right. Oh, it's in the journal that,
Uh-huh.
that it's explained. That,
Yeah, that more spoilers are still coming.
Henry cloned himself.
Yeah.
And unlike the Elizabeths, that he somehow aged to Elizabeth's age, the real Elizabeth.
I'm coming to it. I'm coming to it.
Henry started as okay. Continue on. Yeah.
So then Oliver locks her in the bedroom, and she's a prisoner once more. She reads Claire's journal, and we go back into Claire's story from 5 years ago. Turns out, Claire was a scientist who was hired to help Henry in his illegal and unethical research. Can she crack the genetic mutation code? The original Elizabeth died while giving birth to Oliver, and Henry had great difficulties in cloning her. And it all just gets more and more complicated because there's like a half an hour of this movie that I'm not going to tell you about.
Okay, yeah, it does get complicated. But and that was an interesting moral dilemma for her, too, because he approaches her. She's this brilliant scientist on her own, and he's got this, he knows how to clone humans.
And he's rich.
And he, you want to come on board and you can clone humans with me, and I've got all the money you need, and we'll work on this together, and this is amazing science. And she's like, but that's wrong. And it's like, well, yeah, but
yeah,
aren't you tempted?
If you sympathize for Dr. Frankenstein in those movies, you go with it.
Mm-hmm.
You go with it.
Yeah.
So why did they bury the previous Elizabeths when they have a perfectly functioning crematorium in the backyard?
I don't know if it was supposed to be really a crematorium.
It worked.
They used it as that.
They used it for
That's what Oliver
Henry,
used.
and they used it for at least one of the Elizabeths. Why not use it for? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. That's unclear.
Whatever that thing was meant to burn, they were burning bodies in it, so it was good enough.
Yeah.
Elizabeth acts shell-shocked and strange from the very first scene, so we know that something's a little off with her right away. Except that's really just the tip of the iceberg with the weirdness here. There are twists after twists in this one, and I don't know what I was expecting going into this one, but it wasn't it.
So what she played? The actress,
I knew going into it was about clones.
And I thought the actress, she did a heck of a job. She played, 5 different versions of herself?
The original from the
she
past,
played the original.
the one who died in the beginning.
We didn't see all the clones, I don't think, did we?
No, not all of them.
Yeah.
She was the original Elizabeth back in the day. She was the first clone that was killed. The next clone was the one that killed Henry. Then there was the escaped clone. So there was
No, the escaped one was number 6. The last there were no more left. But I think a couple got skipped that we didn't see.
Yeah,
but anyway, it was an impressive acting job because of course it's she's all playing Elizabeth. It's the same person, but different points in her life, different knowledge levels. It was very cool. Yeah, the acting job she did.
And this is pretty long. It's a slow-paced, character-driven film, but a lot happens. I think it might have been just a little bit too long. I think the whole segment when we get Claire's story could have been removed and some important bits explained elsewhere. But overall, though, it was very good, and there was always one more twist. There's a lot going on here.
More than we talked about.
Yeah, there is more.
Yeah.
And that's our show. Thanks for joining us. Stop in at horrorguys.com to read the reviews. Sign up for our email list where each time we post a new review, you'll get a copy in your email. Or you can go to horrorguys.com/books and pick up one of our many fine fiction and nonfiction horror things.
Collect
all kinds of good stuff.
They make lovely gifts.
And get ready for next week when we'll be watching some more classics.
Oh, we're going way back in time for The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. I always want to call him Caligula.
No,
Caligari from 1920.
That's over 100 years old.
Yeah. And another old one, Vampyr from 1932.
Vampyr.
Yeah. And then a little more modern, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie that was happened before the series. Yeah, it was 1992.
More vampires.
Mm-hmm. And The Beast Must Die from 1975. And a short film called Chromatophobia from this year. Brand new one.
All kinds. I've got a good mix of old. This week is mostly newer films. Next week is a lot of older ones. So, all right. Time traveling horror guys.
Filmmaking 100 years apart. Yeah.
Caligari. I don't know if that was the very. It might be the first full-length horror film. I don't know.
It was groundbreaking in a lot of ways. I don't know which specific ways. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm Brian.
And I'm Kevin.
And we'll see you next week.
See ya.